Today we are talking about the 311 website that is branded with this NYC 311 logo. The phone number that gets you generally to, municipal services, any sort of city services, and also you can get referrals to things like vaccination centers and different kinds of social services, and you can make noise complaints or gas complaints or heat and hot water complaints. This is the website version of 311, which I find really helpful as somebody who doesn't love talking on the phone. If I can find things, through the website, that's kind of like my go-to place. And you can do it in your own time too. So you don't have to worry about getting put on hold or anything like that. You can just sort of explore it for things that you might need in the future as well. So this is just a really sort of abbreviated list of things that are available on the 311 website. So you can get updated vaccine guidance and location information. You can be linked to the Vaccine Finder website to find a place to make a vaccine appointment. There's access to all sorts of social services, lists of resources for just about any kind of social service need you may have. You can get assistance applying for health insurance if you are currently uninsured or underinsured. You can get help finding a primary care physician. Like I said, reporting a problem in your building. So if you don't have hot water or heat, or you other issues with your building, you can look it up by what kind of housing you're living in and then report a complaint. You can get information about SNAP and other food resources. You can learn about and apply for affordable housing, connect with Accessorize, find out about trash and recycling schedules and when they might have been changed or delayed, and register to vote or find your polling place, get immigration guidance, lots of other things. It's a really, really large collection of resources in one place. So to get to NYC 311, so the website, because it's like this portal, it's not just like a straightforward link. I just Google 311 and it's the first thing that comes up, right? So if you just put 311 in your Google search, it's right there. You're going to click on that. And then you can bookmark it so you can come back to it later on. All right. One of the cool things about 311 is that it is available in multiple languages with Google Translate. I think it's over 100 languages. It's a really long list. So when you first get to the site, up in the corner next to the NYC logo, you'll see this box that looks like an A and a symbol there. What you want to do is click on that. If you want to change the language, that is, click on that. And then there's a really long scroll down list of languages that it can be translated into, which can be really helpful. And I think it's actually more languages than they do direct translation for on the phone line for 311. So if you speak a language that is, not readily accessible by phone for 311, this is a good way of getting that information in the language that you primarily read. Okay, so just select whichever language is the one for you, and the site will be translated for you. So there's a lot of different ways that you can navigate the 311 website. There's a big box. So I've taken these screenshots from my phone. We're going to look at it a little bit on my computer later, but this is what it looks like on your phone. When you first open it up, you're going to have this box here that says, how can we help you? And that's one of the kind of maybe most straightforward or most kind of inclusive ways to search the whole site. So what is it that you need? So right here, I wrote get domestic violence resources. What happens when we type get domestic violence resources into this how can we help you box? So this is what we get. We actually get a lot of results. Don't be overwhelmed by that. The general categories of usually what we want to see are going to be near the top of that, especially if it's like, oh, we're looking for resources related to a certain topic. This one up here is going to be the heading for that topic, right? So don't worry that there's 1,159. You can scroll through until you see a heading that is the thing that you're looking for. When we click on that, I've just scrolled down on the screen a little bit to give you an idea of the kind of resources that you would get by searching for, domestic violence resources, then clicking on domestic violence. So this gives you access to the family justice centers. There's a whole bunch of other things, texting 911, how to text 911 when you're not capable of, or you're not free to call and talk. There's a bunch of different resources. There's much more after you scroll down on this. So just to give you an idea of all the things that are available. And all of these things in blue are going to be linked. And if you click on some of these, many of these, and they're taking you actually to a website that's outside of the city website. Let's say you looked up something about social services and there's a social service provider that isn't a city agency, but that they're linked there. you might get a little message that says you're leaving the NYC website. That's fine. That's just going to take you to the specific website of that organization or that service. So just know that you might see that. For the Family Justice Centers, like if you clicked on that, I don't think it would tell you that because that's still like a city-run agency. So that's just an example of one way of finding what you're looking for on the 311 website. Wherever you end up going on this website, if you want to get back to home, just go to menu and you'll see this drop down and select NYC 311. There's also these other things too that are part of this, the larger NYC website that, you know, could be of interest as well. But if you're getting back to the main 311 page, remember you can always click on the 3 menu buttons and 311. So I'm going to show you some other things that are ways that you can sort of navigate this site. So you'll see these 3 buttons. They really do organize things on here by kind of the popularity or like the most used features. So they have report problems. So that's a place where you can go in and report, like we said, noise complaints, building issues, all sorts of things like that. Look up service requests. If you've actually made a complaint and gotten a service request number, you can look at the status of what that service request is. The other thing that you can do with this, that you can look up the service requests that are being responded to near you, right? So maybe, you know, a bunch of people in your building or in your neighborhood have said, you know, there's a gas complaint, people smell gas. You can look on there and see that there's been complaints that are being responded to right now. There's also a make payments section. This is mostly if you have to pay city bills or fees or tickets. So that's just a way to do it that is digital and straightforward. Then if you keep scrolling down, you'll see kind of like the 3 big information things that people I think have a lot of questions about. So is alternate side parking in effect? Is trash, recycling, compost collecting on schedule? And are schools open? So those are just like kind of like big 3 things that people would ask about. So if, you know, it's a school holiday, it would say that on here. If there's a reason why alternate side parking is not in effect, that would be on here. If we had a snowstorm and trash collection was delayed, there would be updates about that on here as well. So it's worth just looking at that if those are questions that you have. It's a good place to go for that information. All right. And then, like I said, you scroll down and there's sort of the most popular current categories. And you'll see this changes a lot over time. So right now it says Good Friday because that's coming up. This gets updated over time. This is just what people are asking about. And this gives you an idea of some of the things you can find on here. So the thing about Good Friday is, like, you know, our city offices on Good Friday. They are. I looked that up yesterday. Language access to 311. So we'll see what languages the phone 311 support. Disability access to government buildings. Mediation for disputes. So lots of different things. Coronavirus, so COVID-19 resources, alternate side parking. These are just the things that right now are the things that people are asking about. Again, if there was some sort of weather event, if there was a snowstorm, probably up near the top of this would be something like, you know, road clearing, the Department of Transportation, what's delayed, that sort of thing. This changes on a very sort of by the minute basis, but it can be helpful if you're wondering about something that is very timely, right? And then if you keep scrolling down, I find this really helpful too. They have different resources grouped by what kind of resources they are. So like benefits and support, affordable housing, SNAP, that sort of thing. Government elections, you can find your polling place, figure out when the next election is. Health, so assistance with insurance and things like COVID updates, all the information about the vaccines and where to get them, that'd be the place that you would go for that. So if you're looking for like a sort of category of services, scrolling down and going to one of these overarching menus is a good thing to try. Okay, so let's look at NYC 311 together real quick. So this is what it looks like I'm on a laptop computer. So it looks a little bit different, you know, it's different dimensions than your phone, but general functions are the same. So I just want to show you the things that I was showing you earlier, but this is in real time. This is right now. Like alternate side parking is now suspended. Schools are still open. Collections are on schedule. Most popular is similar to what it was yesterday. We scroll down. So this is how these categories are going to look at the bottom of the page if you're on a laptop. Let's just look up finding your polling place. So let's look at government and elections. All right. So when you click on government elections, you're going to see these categories. So city government, elections and voting, and then foreign government. So information about like consulates and embassies. So let's look at elections and voting. There's actually a primary that is early voting right now, the presidential primary right now. And I think the actual voting date is on Tuesday, April 2nd. We sort of know who the nominees are already, but it's still important to vote. So we're going to check and see where our polling location is. And again, this is if you're registered with a political party. Okay, so we click on this and we do actually get a lot of options like, you know, how to be a poll worker, how to get assistance, voter registration. We want elections and voting. So learn how to vote and find your polls. And here it'll give us information about the presidential primary. That's what's happening. And see, these are all the early voting hours and the absentee and early mail. information, voter registration deadlines. Okay, let's find our poll site here. We're going to go to the poll site locator. Okay, this is what the kind of message that you might get if it takes you off a New York City website. All right, so it says you're being redirected to an external website. Do you want to continue? Yes, because this is going to be the website that shows us where our polling place is. So just so you know, and then you can enter your information and it'll give you your polling site. And make sure you check to see what your day of polling site is as opposed to your early voting polling site. For some people, that's different. For me, that's different. So check on that. So that's just like one example of how to navigate. So when you go to one of those outside websites, if you're trying to get back to 311, you can just keep hitting the back button. Or if you have it bookmarked, you can just go back to the home page. But, sometimes you can go through these sort of things. When you've gone through multiple, different menus, just keep heading back till you get to where you need to be. The other thing I wanted to mention, which I didn't focus on today, is there's actually a free NYC 311 app as well. It's available in the App Store for Apple and Play Store for Android. The reason I didn't focus on that today is because I think the app is limited compared to the actual site that you access in your browser. I just think that the app is more designed for making service requests and reporting problems, which if that is something that you're likely to use often, then totally worth getting the app. So no problems with the app here. I just think there's a lot more in terms of being able to gather resources from the site that you access through your browser as opposed to the app. Just in terms of a central place to look for a wide variety of city resources, I think it is pretty good. Just the daily things of like school closures and trash and recycling collection. It's good to have a place to go to that is, really constantly updated in that way to tell you what's going on there.